What's up, and welcome back to Opposites Attract Podcast. This is Sonja Ramirez, your girl, and I'm sitting next to
Miguel Ramirez.
What's up, everybody? How's your day?
How was your week?
How is your life
Going.
So,
Happy Halloween, everybody.
yes, next weekend. It falls on a Saturday, right?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I
it
know
does.
this podcast comes out before Halloween.
Yeah, I believe it does fall on
Does
a
it?
Saturday. Yeah. So the kids are super excited. They got their costumes. They're ready to go. Our block is probably the hottest block.
For Halloween?
Yeah.
Yeah,
with the decorations. And I went to one of our neighbors' house. She actually cuts my hair. Well, she's not a neighbor. She lives about maybe 3 minutes away. But she said that she and her kids went walking around the block and that our block was like the block.
Yeah,
and I'm like, really? She's like, yeah.
We got some houses that have stepped up their game this year.
Yeah.
I mean, we got a couple extra things, but I don't compete with anybody. I don't care what anybody's doing.
Yeah. And I don't think anybody's competing. It's just
but you see, like
in this neighborhood, it's just very
Actually, when you remember when you were talking shit as usual when I went to go meet the neighbors across the street.
Yeah,
You're like, so you fill up a glass of whiskey to go talk to the neighbors across the street.
Yeah.
So anyway, that was like, I don't know, a couple weeks ago. And I go over there and one of the neighbors that was there from across the street, he like looks over at our house and he sees we have some decorations. He's like, oh, some competition. And I'm like, nah, man.
He's right.
He was like, oh, I got some stuff coming in from Amazon or whatever. And I'm like, great. And great for them. They got a great looking house.
Yeah.
But there's no way I'm putting that much effort into Halloween decorations and no.
And I wonder how it's going to be this year because of COVID and just, listening to what's going on. It sounds like the numbers are going up. And so
that's fake news. Fake news.
I don't know. I got to talk to our neighbor to see because she works in it. So
look, this Halloween is going to be the best Halloween. Everybody knows it. Believe me.
Shut up.
Nobody has Halloweens like we have Halloweens during my presidency.
I was trying to think back, because, our kids, we bought them their costumes last year. I think they bought their own costumes. We had them raise money to buy their own costumes. But this year, we bought their costumes. And I started thinking back to, the days back when I was a child, and I'm like, do I remember my mom ever buying me a costume? And I don't remember her buying me a costume. I remember making a costume. And it was always like a punk rocker. We would buy the spray for your hair, the different colors, and we would spray our clothes with that. Yeah. And just, we were creative. We had to be creative.
That was a costume.
Yeah, we had to be creative.
Dude, you know what? I know we've taught, we had to, if you go back a year in our last Halloween podcast, right? We must have talked about this.
Maybe. I don't know.
It was the same thing for me. Like I remember 1 year. Well, I do remember in elementary school, like I got a ninja costume. But I also remember 1 year, my dad was like, "Why don't you be homeless or like a hobo?" And I'm like, "What does that costume look like?" He's like, "Well, we'll just put on some dirty clothes and mess up your hair." I remember like I had this dirty jean jacket, because when you're a kid, your jackets get dirty from running around and playing in the park or whatever. Yeah. So I got like this dirty jean jacket, some dirty pants, and I think we actually put like extra dirt on them so that they were dirtier. And then we found like an empty pack of like Marlboro Lights, and he put that like sticking out of my like shirt jacket, jean jacket pocket. Yeah. My hair was all fucked up in a mess. And then he sprayed like glitter hairspray in my hair. I was that was my costume. I was homeless. It was like, dude, what are you supposed to be?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't remember. I just remember, just trick-or-treating. I really don't remember much of the trick-or-treating. I remember the costumes, but that's about it.
Yeah. Yeah. But you don't have memory of trick-or-treating with your friends and all that?
No. No. I don't remember trick-or-treating with my family and my friends. It's weird.
Yeah. So growing up, Halloween in New York was insane. Like I've mentioned it before. It was a lot of fun. It was crazy. And I thought it would be cool. I had some of my old friends, and I'm talking about, these are like my earliest friends in my childhood. Like we've been friends for 30 years. And I had them call in and leave some messages about what Halloween was like growing up. So we'll get into this. The first message is from my friend Juan and Rob. And like I said, they're old childhood friends from my building. So let's listen to that.
What's up, Mike? How you doing? It's me, Juan. What's up? It's Rob. How you doing, Mikey? And we want to wish you guys a happy Halloween, man. The thing I remember from Halloween, Mike, besides throwing onions and throwing eggs and throwing frozen eggs, rotten eggs, whatever the case was, it was one Halloween, man. We were by Rock Bottom. And we were talking. I don't know what we were doing. We were so young at that time. Maybe we were 11 or 12, whatever the case was.
Rock Bottom was like
But then
pharmacy.
I remember hearing screaming. And there was like 30 or 40 guys, as kids, running down, screaming, like some Braveheart thing. And they started bombing eggs at us, man.
They started throwing eggs.
All I remember is us running. I know you hit underneath the car.
We all split up.
Muhammad, we went inside the building. Peter and Rob, I have no idea where they went. But at the end of the day, we all met up. And we were like, yo, that was just crazy.
So if you want to pause it.
During Halloween in Flushing. What do you remember, Rob?
Yeah, I remember in New York, man, the next morning, when we used to wake up in the morning and used to go outside, and there was eggs, shaving cream, toilet paper. It looked like a whole war zone happened overnight during Halloween, man. And that's the things that we don't have now, That's what I remember.
Yeah, I could say it's still safer now than it was before. I remember people throwing batteries down the roofs, or frozen eggs, rotten eggs, anything to hurt people at that time, But Halloween changed a lot, in my opinion, man, but for the better.
Yeah, man. That's what I remember, Mike.
All right, Mike. Hopefully you and your family are doing good, man. Much love. Peace. One love, brother. Happy Halloween again. Craziness.
So yeah, that was Halloween growing up. What were you gonna say?
Well, I was just gonna say, like, I don't believe that you guys were you were doing all of this and no cop showed up.
So I should
because here,
oh no,
it's not going to happen.
No, somebody's gonna tase you. No, let me explain. This was Flushing, Queens, in New York, in like the early 90s. Mm-hmm. So yeah, maybe mid 90s, something like that. And we're all getting to be teenagers. So what happens is in Halloween during the day, like when you get out of school or when the sun is out, that Halloween is for everybody. So as kids, we would get our costumes, and then you would think, like, we got these big 7-10 story buildings, and you just go from the top floor to the bottom floor and you just hit up all the doors and get your candy. So what we would do is we would go into the staircases on the floor. So we would go from the bottom to the top collecting candy, and then we would go into the staircase and we would all switch costumes and then go back and get more candy. But the thing was, when the sun went down, you would see the neighborhood start to change. Like, you would see people starting to go inside. And if you weren't a teenager, pretty much, or the cops, you weren't outside on Halloween because you were going to get hit with eggs.
That's just crazy.
This is in New York City, like with big ass buildings, and the whole freaking, on that night, everybody would go inside except for the teenagers. And it was a fucking disaster. Like, the month of October, you had to be 18 to buy eggs in our neighborhood. They wouldn't sell you eggs unless you were 18 or shaving cream.
See, those just are the good old days. I'm sure that they don't do that now.
So what we would do is we would buy eggs months in advance and store them. So we would be buying eggs in August and September, and by that time they're starting to get it like they were saying, they start getting a little stinky. But I remember one year I had, I don't know if it was like 17 or 20 dozen eggs, and we would just throw on a backpack and throw eggs in the backpack and head out. And once the sun starts going down, you would start seeing kids, and they would start throwing eggs at you. You would start throwing eggs at them. But I remember, so in that voicemail, he was talking about this place, Rock Bottom. And I remember going there one day, and it's like a Walgreens, like a pharmacy, CVS or something like that, right?
Okay.
So it was like right on the corner, and I had to go there for some reason. me and I don't know if anybody was with me. I think my brother might have been with me, my little brother Alan. But there was some people that were coming out, or there was a kid coming out with his younger brothers and sister. Now, they were kind of, I mean, we still did take into consideration, like little kids, we're not going to try and hit them with eggs. But if you're starting to get a little bit older, and if you're going to start throwing eggs at us, then we're going to throw eggs at you. Like, you know, if you're down, we're down too. So we're outside this pharmacy, and they're coming out. And we look at them, and the sun hasn't gone down yet, but it's starting to go down. Mm-hmm. And this kid opens up his bag and starts handing eggs to his brothers. Like, if something goes down, start throwing eggs.
Yeah.
And we weren't going to hit them with eggs. Mm-hmm. And it was like, well, so we pull our hands out of our pockets and we have eggs. And it was just like a fucking Western showdown in the rock bottom parking lot.
That's insane.
But once the sun went down and it started getting dark, then you would get your groups of friends, and you know, it was like gangs of kids like throwing eggs at each other. But the cool thing was, for the most part, it wasn't anything malicious. You know, like we weren't trying to hurt each other. It was
eggs hurt.
Well, they hurt. All right, babe, fucking you're not gonna die from an egg. You might get, so do paintballs, but people play it, right? So, so we would start throwing eggs at each other. The messed up thing was that there were some kids that, instead of buying eggs, I don't know if fucking onions are cheaper or potatoes are cheaper, but they would like buy a fucking 40-pound bag of potatoes or onions, and we're throwing eggs, and somebody gets hit in the fucking head with an onion, and you're like, what the fuck was that? You know? It's like, hey, that's not part of the rules. You're not supposed to be throwing fucking onion. And like he said, batteries, like, some people are just assholes. But for the most part, we were just having a good time chasing each other. But in that story, he was saying like they were chasing us like from Braveheart. I remember what happened was we were down the street. This was in that same rock bottom, that same parking lot, about, you know, the same place that I just told that other story with the boy and his brothers and sisters or whatever. So we were down the street from there, and they were on the corner. What happened was there was probably like 10, or maybe it was like 5 kids standing on the corner. We were down the street, and there was probably like, I don't know, maybe 5, 6 of us. And we're like, hey, you see that group of kids over there? And they weren't paying attention to us. Mm-hmm. And we're like, fuck it, let's start bombing them, which what that means, like, let's start throwing eggs at them. And so we're halfway down the street, and we start launching eggs at these kids. What we didn't notice is that around the corner was the rest of their crew. And they had like 40 people. Mm. And we had like 6. And all of a sudden, the whole crew starts running down and we're like, holy shit. And we just split. Like, everybody just split. Like he was saying, people ran into the building. I ran right across the street and ducked behind a car. And there's people going trick-or-treating. So I took my mask off, and I tucked my backpack underneath the car. And I just got up when they weren't looking and started walking down the street. And I remember somebody was like, was he one of them? And then somebody was like, no, that's not. And I just kept walking like I didn't hear anything. I was like, fuck, they're going to come after me. You know, if they would have caught me, I would have been screwed. But one of the coolest things was later on that night, like a couple hours later, on a different block, we're still, you know, we ended up meeting up again, and we're chasing people, throwing eggs and all that stuff. And we run into a couple people from that crew, and we were explaining to them what happened. And they were like, that was you guys? And we're like, yeah, that was us. And they were like, we were in that crew and we're like, what? And then they were like, yeah, we're going to meet up over here or something. And we all ended up joining, like us and them, and the crew got bigger. And then we started and I think, if I remember right, that year, it was kind of like one of those things where we would look for other crews and kick their ass and throw eggs, and then they would kind of join us.
Okay, so that's where you learned all your recruiting skills?
It's called teamwork, right? So
so that's how you learned all your recruiting skills?
Yeah. But no, man, it was so much fun. You were saying the police. So the police were out, but they weren't arresting people, you know. So usually we would have our masks on, but once it started getting hot and throwing eggs, and you didn't really want to be wearing a mask. So usually that night we were dressed all in black jeans, black hoodie, and instead of wearing a mask, we would just paint our faces black. Like, our whole face was painted black. That way you're if you're sweating, you're not underneath the mask. But the cops would stop us, and they would just walk up to you and start smacking you in the pockets. Like they would hit you.
Because they knew.
Boom. Yeah. Because they knew that in the pocket of your sweats you probably have eggs.
Yeah.
So they would hit your pockets in your pants. They would hit your sweatshirt. They would hit your hood because sometimes we would stash eggs in the hood.
Yeah.
And if we had a backpack, they would make you open your backpack and dump all the eggs on the street so that they would all break. But they wouldn't arrest you. And then we would just run back to the house, grab more eggs, and run back out to the street.
Yeah. Do you imagine our kids do that? I'd kick their butt.
That sounds like a different world, doesn't it?
Yeah.
In New York City, does that?
I can't see.
Can you imagine? Like you've been there to that building. I mean, we would go up to the roof of the building and throw eggs off the building at the people that were down below, like 7 stories down, 6 stories down.
Yeah. No, it sounds like a lot of fun.
And
that's what boys do. That's what on the other podcast I'm like, boys have so much fun.
Yeah.
Like girls were in the house, doing our thing, putting makeup on and whatever. And you guys are out there bombing each other and playing.
Shaving cream. Throwing potatoes and batteries at each other.
I can't imagine.
Hell. But yeah, it was crazy. So in that voicemail that you guys heard, that was my friend Juan and my friend Rob. And I have another voicemail from my friend Peter, and that's Rob's brother. So we'll get into that.
How's it going, man? It's Pete Rodriguez, man, Georgia. I got a story about a Halloween back in New York. Might have been 98. It was my friend Mikey Wine, my brother Rob, Joey, Chris, everybody, Muhammad. Man, so, yeah, I had on shoulder pads. I might have had a Raider shirt. It was all black. And we went out bombing. Bombers when, you go out with eggs. And
so like I said, usually we're wearing black. So he says he's wearing the shoulder pads, a Raider shirt, and he's got his eggs.
Hey, man, how's it going, man? It's Pete Rodriguez, man, Georgia. I got a story about a Halloween back in New York. Might have been 98.
Sorry about that.
It was my friend Mikey Wine, my brother Rob, Joey, Chris, everybody, Muhammad. Man, so, yeah, I had on shoulder pads. I might have had a Raider shirt. It was all black. And we went out bombing. Bombers when, you go out with eggs and, toilet paper, shaving cream, just in case we don't all day, just give it to people. They with the eggs, you got to stay them jokers for about 3 months to get a good stink egg.
So he will buy his eggs
and
3 months in advance.
People take some another level and had like firecrackers. But man, caught some guys we didn't like. So we throwing big, frozen onions and eggs, pineapple, whatever we got. Threw a pineapple at a window, a bus window, bust open, trying to get these guys. One of the guys turned around to an M80, man.
So this guy, we're throwing eggs out the windows because my friend Juan, he lived on the 5th floor. We all lived on the 5th floor, but his window faced the street. So sometimes we would just open up the window in his kitchen or one of the bedrooms in his house and just start throwing eggs out the window or go up to the roof and throw eggs from the roof. But he was saying that like people would step it up and somebody threw an M80 firecracker at him, which is pretty much like a little piece of a stick of dynamite from what I heard. I don't know if that's true or not, but it'll blow your fingers off or whatever. And somebody threw it at his chest.
Mm-mm. Hey man, how's it going, man?
And my bad. I thought I had it paused. But yeah, so he was talking about how they threw the firecracker at him, and like the batteries, it was just a mess, a disaster. But it was one of these things like we look forward to it every year, because we knew it was kind of like we could do within reason. You can pretty much do whatever you want, Mm-hmm. So that was Juan, Rob, my friend Peter, and like Rob was saying, the next day when you wake up and you go out to the street, it looked like a freaking war zone. It was eggs, toilet paper, shaving cream all over the streets, and there was the power company. Con Edison was the power company, and for some reason it was kind of weird because they would like drive through the neighborhood, obviously whenever they were fixing stuff or whatever, but it seemed like they were always out on Halloween. They were always out, and we would be going after each other, and the power truck would turn the corner and come down the street. And it was just like everybody's focus turned from throwing eggs and bombing each other to that truck. and the truck would drive slow. So this is why I'm thinking, like, they would drive slow down the block, maybe because they couldn't see because of the eggs and the shaving cream, but everybody's attention turned towards the truck, and we would just light that truck up, just completely covered in toilet paper, eggs, shaving cream, all of that.
I'd be pissed. No.
Would you?
Hell yeah, somebody's egging my car.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't know. It's weird because I don't know if that happened anywhere else in New York City, but I know it happened in my neighborhood in Flushing. It happened.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it happened like even in the adjacent neighborhood, like right next to us. Like I don't know if that happened. But it was so much fun. It was crazy. But that's something that doesn't happen anymore.
Yeah.
Doesn't happen. Would you let the kids if that was something that happened, would you let the kids do that?
No. Nah, I don't want them egging cars. Would you?
It's not egging cars. We're not going after cars. We're going after each other.
Anything and everything, pretty much.
We're going after each other for the most part.
No, he could do it without my knowledge.
I'm going trick or
You'd
treat.
be okay. Here's some eggs, babe.
Well,
Go have fun.
You know what? Growing up, like I had, so that 1 year that I had the 17 or 20 dozen eggs, like I had them all pretty much like staged at my front door. So my dad, my stepmom, like they had to know, and he knew. And because I would leave the door, that was like the only day that we would leave the door unlocked so that we could run upstairs, grab more eggs, throw them in the backpack, run out. And yeah.
Dude, my mom would have beat my ass.
I remember one time,
like for real.
So when you enter the building, there's like this little room. So you enter the front door, and then there's all the buttons for the apartments in that building, right?
Yeah.
And you press one of the buttons, and they got to let you in through the other door.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So it's kind of just like this little room. And one time I was running from some people, and I thought I was slick, and I ran into the building. And usually if you want to get in quick, you just hit all the buttons, and somebody's going to let you in. So I'm sitting there and I'm fucking hitting buttons, hoping that somebody's going to let me in, because if they let me in, then the door locks behind me and I have a chance to just run up inside the building or run out the back of the building or something. Well, nobody let me in. And somebody saw me go inside that building. And all of a sudden, this dude walks in and I'm like, oh, fuck. And he has eggs in his hands, in his pockets. I had ran out. So we're in this little ass room and he starts throwing eggs and I'm like moving and dodging, and he missed with all the eggs that he threw at me, except for his last one. And he was like, I'm not going to miss with this one. He just goes and bam, just smacks me right in the head. And I just had eggs just dripping down my head. Yeah.
Was it a stinky egg?
No, that one, luckily that one wasn't a stinky egg. I mean, you know, sometimes we would get the stinky ones and some people wouldn't.
Yeah. No, those are good memories. Like that's
it was crazy. Yeah, that sounds kind of.
It sounds like it would be fun. You know.
I'm talking about blocks and blocks. This is happening on, like, if you're in this is like developments of houses against each other. That's what it would be like. Yeah, it would be like Santa Rita Ranch, Mesquite, you know, like all these neighborhoods just fighting, throwing eggs.
Yeah.
All the kids bombing each other.
Yeah, that's
crazy, huh?
Crazy.
So that's what New York was like in Flushing, Queens in the 90s.
So speaking of old friends,
yeah.
You know, I had one of my friends come over and she gave me a call and, you know, wanted to come hang out. And so it was great. We had such a great time. We were talking, laughing, going over our yearbook. Yeah. Just cracking up, looking at the pictures and talking about things that we did.
Your high school yearbook?
Yes. And then we went for a bike ride. And we just had like the best time. It was just so freeing. And I remember talking to you about it and you just started laughing. And I'm like, what? I'm like, you wouldn't take your friend on a bike ride?
Oh my God. You know what?
Like the difference between men and women.
Mentioning, you know? That, like we're just talking about my old friends.
Yeah,
from
and
New
what
York
you guys were doing.
If like they came over to Arizona and we're all gonna chill and hang out, and it's like, hey, you guys want to go for a bike ride? And we just like fucking riding around. It's like, hell, there's no way we would do that.
It was beautiful, like the breeze, the sun, you know, and we both enjoyed it.
Yeah.
But I thought it was super cool. You know, and it was just out of nowhere. I'm like, hey, you want to go for a bike ride? She's like, yeah. I'm like, let's do it.
What a guy. I mean, I can't think of anything else besides like, let's just chill and get some drinks.
Yeah.
I mean, what else would a guy do with his old guy friends that he hasn't seen forever?
Go for a bike ride?
Not go for a bike ride. That's not happening. So how have you guys been?
Yeah.
Fuck.
And what's so great is that even though we haven't seen each other for years, we just picked up where we left off. Like
that's cool.
It was like no time had passed.
Yeah.
And I started to think about friendship and what friendship means, because there are some, friends that I have, that I don't know. It's just, if you don't, staying in contact, and calling, like her and I, we pretty much disconnected for a while because she was going through some things.
Yeah.
But she never gave me crap like, hey, why haven't you called me? Or, hey, why haven't, like to make me feel bad, or vice versa.
Well, I think it's one of these things. Like if she was reaching out to you all the time and you were just like, I'm too busy, I got too much going on, and that's one thing. Then you guys may not talk again.
Yeah.
But if it's one of these things where you guys just both were busy and you grew apart, then you guys both know that it's like, well, it's not that she didn't want to talk to me. It's just life happens, But
I didn't even feel like we grew apart. It's just life.
Yeah, it is. Like, it is kind of.
You get crazy. Busy. It's just the stresses of life. That's it. You have kids. And,
yeah.
We're both married, and
it's crazy.
We have so much going on.
There are certain relationships that are like that.
Yeah, but it's like we didn't skip a beat.
Yeah.
At all.
Like you could just not talk for years. Kind of like my friends that called in. Same thing. Like there's sometimes some of the guys, it's like years between the times that we talk. But when we talk, it's just like old times.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
Yeah. And growing up, I don't remember like having a lot of close friends the way you do.
Yeah.
Like Veronica, I met her in high school. Like my friends, like my really good friends, didn't come until later in life.
Yeah.
I mean, I have like a few that I would hang out with, but because my mom was so strict, she wouldn't let me go out and hang out with my girlfriend. So I didn't have a chance to grow those relationships.
Yeah. Yeah, it's different.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's cool.
But
yeah, it's cool when you have those friends and develop those relationships.
And I see our kids, and they're
starting to do that.
Yeah, like they're starting to get those relationships.
Do you think about that when you see them with their friends?
Yeah, and it makes me feel so good because I didn't have that.
It's crazy to think about, like the little kids that we see with them now. Mm-hmm. Like they may be with them when they're adults. Like we may see these little kids too grow up to be 40.
Yeah.
Or whatever. And like, dude, I knew
or
you.
16,
I
even
knew,
16.
Even 16. But I'm saying like as they get older, I mean, not to get fucking sad. And all
I know
that
you're
shit,
going to make me
But I'm saying like if Joey's getting married or Audrey's getting married and their best man or maid of honor is like a friend of theirs from when they were 7.
No, that's so cool.
And like we've seen that kid also grow up.
Yeah.
It's nuts. And it's cool.
It is. And and that's one thing that, I don't have, because we moved so much when I was young that I didn't get to bond. I didn't get to have those relationships.
Yeah.
I think once my mom remarried, that's when my security kicked in, because we were able to keep a place.
Yeah.
I guess you could say,
So was it more of like a relationship with your siblings?
I can't say that. I mean, my brother was the only one left. My sisters were already moved out. So.
Because they were older.
Yeah.
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 And your brother wasn't like your best friend growing up.
We were close. Like, I mean, I had his back. I'd kick somebody's ass for him.
You would kill him, but you would kill somebody else for him. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's kind of like, who was it that was saying something? I don't know if it was Audrey. I think Audrey was saying something about the bus. And like Audrey, our kids, Audrey and Joey, like they'll sometimes they'll fight to like where they want to kill each other. Like, you hear them fucking so scrapping, crazy. Yelling, and
it's been recent since they've gotten older.
Joey's lucky that Audrey doesn't have his temper.
Yeah,
because she will kick the shit out of him. I'm just saying. But the other day they were talking about, I think I heard Audrey saying something about how they were on the bus, and she heard somebody saying something to Joey. Mm-hmm. And she was like, and I got so mad. Like she was going to do something or say something. Yeah. But then I think it died down or whatever. And it was just like, it turned out to be nothing.
Yeah.
But she was like ready to scrap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
but
cool,
they'll freaking kill each other. You know? They'll freaking fight with each other and yell and cry and all that.
Yeah.
But that's just how it is with siblings.
Yeah. And it's just as they gotten older, because they weren't like that.
Well, same with me.
It seemed like a year ago. You know, like they were just very close. They were inseparable.
That's true.
You know, but once Audrey started going through her phases, I think that muscle relaxer kicked in.
You about to fall asleep on me?
Well, from the beginning, like I felt very like woozy.
Sonia's taking dog tranquilizazers.
Oh,
what is that? What is that? Oh, so we need to talk about that movie. You guys need to watch The Wrong Missy on on Netflix. You remember that shit?
Yeah.
She freaking... Anyway, check it out. It's super funny. And
we just got sidetracked.
Yeah. No, well, you said the muscle relaxers, and I thought, remember when she gives him, not knowing, gives him a freaking dog tranquilizer and knocks him out?
Oh, she knew what she was doing. She threw it when they were on the airplane.
Did I say accidentally?
Yeah.
She didn't accidentally give it to him. No,
she knew.
She threw it down his throat.
She grabbed it from her purse, and he was sitting next to her and just like, just...
The Wrong Missy on Netflix. You guys got to check it out, man. I don't want to give away too much.
Super rated R, by the way.
No kids.
Yeah, no kids whatsoever.
So pretty much the premise of the movie is you have, is it David Spade? He's one of the main characters, and he goes on a blind date with this psychopath, and then he ends up meeting another girl.
Yeah.
That is really pretty, and he connects with her and whatever, and some crazy shit starts happening. So definitely check it out. The Wrong Missy on Netflix.
Yeah. So
you're taking the dog tranquilizers.
No, they're muscle. So I have a pinched nerve. I have something going on. And so they gave me a steroid pack to take and some muscle relaxers. So she gets a steroid pack, and I'm talking to Sonia, and I'm like, so what do you take it 3 times a day, or? And she's like, well, I got to take one in the morning. And then there's one that says... It says before breakfast.
Before breakfast. And then I got to take one after breakfast. Then I got to take one before lunch, one after lunch, one before dinner. And then I got to take 2 after dinner.
And then 2 before bed. And then 2 before bed or something.
But the thing is that usually this comes in like a little jar. And this is like a packet. And it's got all the times that you're supposed to take it like listed out. And I'm like, this looks like a cycle. Mm-hmm. Like a cycle of steroids. I'm like, dude, you're on roids. you're juicing.
But I don't know. I didn't feel the difference. But
you've been looking jacked.
Shut up. I am not good with taking pills. I am not good like with time. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't even eat that much throughout the day.
Yeah.
Because you have to, it says before breakfast. I mean, I'm not used to eating breakfast, and I'm not used to eating lunch. Like normally we'll eat around 1:00.
Yeah.
So I jacked it all up, and I was like, I hope I don't overdose on this, because one evening I took it before dinner, but dinner was at what time? 7:00.
Yeah.
And then I had to take 2 before bed. So 2 hours later, 3 hours later,
I think
take 2 more. Well, no, because I talked to our neighbor, and she said, you're going to be fine. But I just screwed it all up. Like I did.
And she's gotten more aggressive.
She's getting
roid rage.
So going through all this, like I'm very stiff. Like I'm just like, I'm feeling better, but now it's more, I can feel exactly like where the pinched nerve is, like I don't have the tingling in my arms or any of that. Anyways, I call my masseuse. Is that what you call her?
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly what you call her.
Well, because it's just, so she comes to you, and I hadn't seen her for like a year, and I totally forgot about her. But I was so excited. So I made an appointment for yesterday. The kids were going to be gone. You were going to be gone. So I'm like, this is perfect. I decided to take the day off, and I'm so glad I did. because I forgot how much it freaking hurt.
Oh yeah, she was dropping bows on you.
Like, oh my! Like I was in there, like not screaming high, but like it was just nuts, and I was so knotted. Like I could feel this woman is amazing. By the way, her name is Brandy Curry. And I'm going to leave her number somewhere for you guys to call her if you live in the East Valley. But she knows her stuff. Like she knows the muscles. She knows she's gone to school, continues to go to school to educate herself. But I'm feeling like she's doing something on my butt, right?
Yeah.
And I can feel it in my middle, like the middle of my back, and you could feel the knots.
Yeah.
And
like she's
she
working
was
the knots
just
out.
going to town, and it was just.
I walk in and all I hear is,
yes. And I started laughing. She's like, there you go. She's like, most people, because they're like, what the hell is going on? Like, what is that? It's like you're feeling things that you've never felt before in your body.
Yeah.
And I can feel all the tension, in my body while she's like massaging out those knots. And she takes it all the way up into my jaw. And I'm like, what?
She massaged your jaw?
Yes. Because she says that when your muscles, like when it tightens up, upper body, it also tightens up here because of some nerve you have in your face. And once that gets tight, you start to get headaches. And I'm just, and afterwards I felt drunk. I am so glad that I didn't, that I took that time off. And even going to jiu-jitsu, I was feeling woozy as crap.
Yeah. Yeah, you said you were going to work out and then you just kind of took it easy.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, after that massage, you looked like you were hit by a car.
Oh, really?
Well, I'm saying like just kind of like you were just moseying around, like not moving too much.
I felt so relaxed though. Like afterwards, it felt so good.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming I drank enough water yesterday because I don't feel sick, because she was saying the toxins, like.
Yeah, you got to flush them out.
Yeah. So anyways, I will leave you guys her number. She's absolutely amazing. I don't see how if you're in Arizona, works a job, she has a job and then she does this on the side. And I'm like, you are so good. Like you should be making way more money.
You should be hurting way more people.
Yeah.
You should be making other people feel
so while I'm hurting, I'm like, I need to schedule one of these for my husband.
I remember.
Yes. Like I need to.
Yesterday you were saying, you're like, it hurt so good.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what?
Because most people, when you think of, I'm going to go get a massage, you're thinking, it's going to feel so good. Like and she's like, what does she call that? Something like a puff and fluff or fluff, something like it doesn't help anything.
A rub and tug?
No. She's like, it just feels good, but it doesn't help you,
Yeah.
So I'm like, nope. And I didn't complain. Like, I'm just like, have at it, just get to it. Because she said most people, I'm like, has anybody ever just got up and left?
I would imagine.
And she said, no, they just tell me to ease off a bit.
Yeah.
That's but I'm like, she knows what she's doing. So I'm just like, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna take it.
I'm gonna.
Yep. And so, anyways,
that's good. Well, I mean, it's crazy that you have to recover from a massage,
right?
You wouldn't think that, but no. I guess when you get a good one, if you get the right massage.
Yep. I think I'm gonna have her come in 2 weeks.
Do it again.
Yeah, to get these knots
cool.
out. And she told me the reason for it. She's like, are you she's like, you're an empath. She's like, are you an empath? You take on people's energy? And I'm like,
you can feel what's happening
people's
around.
Energy. Yeah. And I'm like, yes. She's like, that explains why you are so knotted. She's like, because of the way, everything is today with the pandemic, and just people are in this state of mind of, it's just, there's a lot of negativity going on. And here you are trying to be positive, and, you're just that person. So you're taking on it. Your body is taking on
all this energy.
Yeah. And I'm like, holy crap, that makes so much sense, because I've never have felt so just tense.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is.
Maybe
the roids are helping too. Maybe they'll help you out.
Yeah, I hope so.
The massage and the roids, the cycle.
Yeah. And then I was thinking of taking the muscle relaxers. I'm so glad I didn't. Like something said inside me said, don't take them. Because she asked me, she's like, did you take them? Have you taken them? And I said, no. She's like, good. Because if so, it would have been hard for me to find the knots because your muscles would have been relaxed.
Oh, okay.
And I'm like, oh.
Crazy.
All right. All righty then.
So earlier in the week, I think you went to go check the mail. And we got this catalog from Amazon.
Yes.
Dude, Amazon, like we've talked about all the shit. You guys already know all the shit that Amazon is doing. I saw somebody sent me a video. I think it might have been my cousin Danny. He sent me a video of like an Amazon store, like a supermarket. Have you seen this?
No.
So the shopping cart has like sensors in it. Of course, Amazon and fucking all these tech companies, they put sensors in the shopping cart. You walk down the aisles and grab whatever you want. Like somehow, I don't know if you log into the shopping cart with your Amazon account or some shit, but whatever you grab and put into the shopping cart is being tracked. And you can just walk right the fuck out. I don't know. I think maybe you have to stop on a sensor and then roll out, but you don't have to deal with a cashier. You just throw shit in your cart and on the screen, it's like adding everything up and it knows what you're getting.
That's crazy. Costco needs to get that.
It's freaking nuts. Dude, talk about like social distancing and all. Like you don't have to talk to anybody. All you got to do is grab your cart, put your shit in it, and roll right out. Crazy.
Where are they located?
I don't know. I got to look it up. But yeah, I saw a video earlier this week about it. But they sent us that catalog and it's like, getting ready for Christmas and it's got like shopping lists. It's got kids' toys. I haven't looked through it too much. I've looked through some things and all I've seen in there is like kids' toys.
Yeah.
So like they're pretty smart. Like they're marketing this shit all to the kids. They got their shopping list in there so that they can start writing stuff down. And they can order whatever they want on Amazon. And then I was talking to you. I was like, what if these catalogs were personalized because they have all our data?
Yeah, they know what you purchase. They see what your kids are into because what you buy them.
So what I was thinking, I looked at the back of the catalog and I was like, are they just dropping these in the mailboxes or did they specifically send this to our address or to us? So I look at the back of it and it has our address on it.
Yep.
So obviously if they have our address, they can look up our account and be like, this is what they're into.
Yeah.
And fill up that catalog with shit that you might be interested in.
Right.
So I start flipping through this catalog and I'm like, it looks like a generic catalog. But imagine if they went through your shopping history.
What would your catalog look like?
You got all kinds of
listeners,
butt plugs and dildos in your because you can buy it on Amazon.
And imagine if your neighbor gets your
oh my god
catalog. You know what I'm saying?
Could you imagine walking across? I think this is
yours.
This is your catalog.
A different kind of swings.
Yeah, that's a cool gag
Sex
ball. That's
pillows.
in there. Yeah, they'd be like, oh, nice rubber fist. That's in that catalog. But what I was saying, like, imagine if you could see the people that had shit to hide because the parents or the adults would be running to the mailbox or whatever to make sure they got their catalog before their kids got the catalog.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I'd be like, yeah.
Speaking of Amazon.
No, thank you.
And if you guys are going to shop on Amazon, if you guys have gotten one of those personalized catalogs with all the dildos in them and all that stuff, and you want to pick one up, make sure you go to oppositesattractpodcast.com. When you go there, you can see all the links to support the show. You can follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all of that right there on oppositesattractpodcast.com. You can watch the show. You can listen to it. You can click on contact us and send us a message if you'd like. And at the top, you'll see where it says support the show. If you click on that support the show tab, it'll take you to our Amazon link. Anything that you buy on Amazon doesn't cost you anything extra, but it helps out the show. We get a couple pennies.
Yep. So, hey, Christmas shoppers, where do you want to go?
Probably should have mentioned that before Prime Day.
Yeah.
Fuck. We keep fucking day late and $1 short. Anyway, so if you're doing any other shopping, which you probably not because you already did all your Prime Day, but you can do it through there. And you'll also see a link to Trust Inc. And Trust Inc. is?
We are a nationwide mobile notary agency. We do a lot of work with title companies and law firms. So, yeah, hit us up.
Yeah, so if you need oh my God.
I'm so glad I'm not drinking a Truly because muscle relaxers and Trulies, I know.
So, yeah, if you guys...
I'm going to fall asleep on this podcast.
If you guys are buying a house and you guys would like to use our company, Trust Inc., for your notary services, you can request us. And if you want to go to Trust Inc. directly, you can go to trustinkusa.com. We're also affiliates with Libsyn, which is who we use to host our podcast. They host some of the biggest podcasts in the world. And if you've thought about starting a podcast, if you're passionate about something and you want to talk about it and put it out there, and this is also kind of like we were talking with Big Super last week. This is a catalog of your life, of what's happening. Yeah. So this is kind of a way to document it. And our kids, they can look back and be like, I wonder what mom and dad were doing. Oh my God, let's turn this off. Why did you even have to go there? Anyway, so if you guys have thought about starting a podcast and you want to give it a shot, go to Libsyn. That's Libsyn. When you go to sign up, you can use the promo code OAP for Opposites Attract Podcast, and you'll get whatever that month that you sign in, you'll get the rest of that month in for free, and you'll get the next month for free for trying it out. Promo code OAP.
Yeah, I don't know about that, what you just said.
The catalog and them looking back on stuff?
No, like the kids, listening to the podcast when they get older, they're going to be like, our parents are freaks. And the world knows it.
So what? Kids aren't dumb. They know. They figure it out eventually.
We talked about things about our kids that, oh my gosh, will embarrass
nothing crazy.
Heck out of them.
You know what, man? We got so many episodes
Joey
already.
And the toothbrush.
Good luck finding them. But good job bringing it back up. Oh my. All right. Well, there you go.
Oh, that I think that was all you. Not.
So you were saying that that you were like right now you were talking about Trust Inc. and you're like, oh my God, I feel so whatever. But lately I've been kind of not on the same thing, but it reminded me. Lately, I've been kind of thinking to myself, like, I don't know if sometimes I feel like you going to fall asleep there? Are you okay?
Yes.
I'm going to take a nap. I need to put like lullabies on here.
Don't do that. No.
Go to sleep.
Babe, shut up.
So I was thinking to myself, like, you know what? I was like, maybe I'm a little fucking slow. Or maybe I'm a moron or something like that. Because sometimes there's people that talk to me. I was talking to my little brother, Alan, about this earlier in the week. And I'm like, sometimes I feel like I'm just fucking stupid or something. Because people will start talking to me. Like, this is something that I need to know. Or something that I need to try to retain. And I just fucking completely just brain dump. Like, I can't have people explain things to me. I need to do them. I need to have them explained and do them at the same time so that it's not going to stick. But I need to do it over and over again. The thing is that once I get it, I got it. Like, I got it 100%. Like, I don't miss the details. Like, I get all of it down. But just like when I was on that work trip, this is like one of the simplest things. And everybody's had this happen, been in this situation before where somebody's like, okay, you just follow me and, you'll follow me to get out of town or whatever. He's like, and so we're going to turn down the name of this street, whatever it is. And then we're going to go past this. And then on the left, you're going to see this. He's like, when I come up to that light, I'm going to make a right. You're going to keep going straight. You're going to pass the whatever. And no. as soon as we got to like the second part of his fucking directions, he's like, so you're going to follow me. We're going to make a left out of here. You're going to see this street. I was just fucking completely turned off.
No, like I would have done that too.
I shut everything off. I had no idea where I was going. I wasn't, and I don't know what it was. And then while he's explaining the directions, now I'm having my own conversation in my head about how I'm a moron. And like, dude, you can't even fucking pay attention to what this dude's telling you. And I find like that happens to me a lot. Like I have to do things for me to understand them, for them to stick. I can't just be explaining and reading. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's just, but that's part of like, I guess, education. Like some people can just sit and read and learn.
Yeah. You're recognizing how you learn, and
I got to do shit like that. I have to
do it. And both
of
our kids are the same, and I am the same way. I am hands-on.
Yeah.
And that's why when I see you explaining some things sometimes to the kids, I'm just looking at you. Yeah. Like, that's not going to work. Joey's confused. Show him and let him. Show me, teach me, let me. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Show me, teach me, let me. And that's how they learn.
That is true.
You know?
Yep. But we still have a lot of learning to do with everything.
No, forever. We'll forever be learning. We will forever be growing. You know, even us together, you know, as a couple, there's times where, you know, we start backtracking where our communication is good, but we stop communicating because we're upset or we're irritated. And I mean, this happened recently, you know, and you're like, I'm just not going to say anything. I'm just not going to talk about it. Like, it's going to make it all better. And it's not going to make it better. You know, the only way to make it better is to talk about it. You know, talk about it. And then we will figure it out together. But if you try to figure it out alone, you're just going to keep hitting a brick wall.
Yeah.
You know, but again, we got to get back on track, start communicating, you know, and come from love.
Oh, jeez. And
not be, you know, upset when we do talk about it.
So we were talking about this a couple days ago, and this is something that I just don't understand. I don't get it. Everything is getting, like I've told you before, like shit gets so soft, and you can't come at people a certain way because you hurt their feelings and all this stuff, you know. And I know you notice it or you feel it, like the energy, but like today, like people talk about all these energies and people's attitudes and how these are okay and these are not, even though they're human emotions. But you're allowed to have these certain human emotions, and if you have these human emotions, those are not okay, and those are not good.
Who says that?
Well, you don't have to say it, but that's the way society is turning, where everything has to be like the positive. Even with kids, raising kids, everything is perfect. You're so great. You guys are doing awesome. You're the best. But this is exactly what I'm talking about. This is the same thing even with adults right now. Mm-hmm. If you see an angry adult, they're like, oh my God, they're fucked up. They got problems. They need to work on something. Something's going on with that person because they get frustrated. It's like frustration is not okay. Being angry is not okay. Though those are...
I don't know. I don't hear that.
All right. Well, you can pretend you don't know what I'm talking about, because you do.
I don't know. I always say it's okay to be upset. It's okay to be angry. It's okay to be sad. It's okay to be happy. Those are all emotions that we all have. Now,
except for when I get upset or angry, that's not okay.
It's knowing. Well, what we were doing in the house is helping Joey to understand the emotion, recognize the emotion, and find a way to put that energy to work without him hitting himself, without him.
Okay, maybe he doesn't need to hit himself, but it doesn't mean that he shouldn't be angry or frustrated. Because the thing is that just like everything else, you look at it today, people are getting fucking soft. You can't talk to people. You can't hurt anybody's feelings. We're going to end up going through we're overcorrecting. We're overcorrecting right now. And these emotions, I'm sure, were developed for a reason.
Well, yeah.
You know, frustration, anger maybe helped you fucking survive back in the day.
Right. And fear kept you safe.
Yeah, fears shouldn't be, I'm not scared. You shouldn't be scared. And it's like, well, maybe you should be scared. There's a reason for feeling fear. There's a reason for feeling nervous. There's a reason for feeling confidence. There's a reason for all these things. And it's not that one is good or one is bad. It's just these things helped us survive throughout history. Mm-hmm. You know? And we were talking about the other day, like, I think it was this book, Tribe, by Sebastian Younger, something like that, Tribe. And they were saying that there was this tribe, and they would have a peacetime leader, right? And they would have a wartime leader.
Right.
Which, when you think about it, is not a bad idea.
Yeah.
Right?
No, for sure.
Because you don't want the wartime leader during peacetime, right?
Yeah.
You don't want, and maybe that's what we're doing, right?
Yeah.
It's just maybe the wartime leader needs to fucking chill out when there's not a war happening. I don't know. Maybe you got a point. but you don't want the fucking peacetime leader during a war.
Right. That's funny.
We need to talk about this. Hold on. Oh, so you get the shit beat out of you.
When Miguel said that, I'm like, dude, that's freaking hilarious, because I could totally see you as the war leader and me as the peace leader. And that's why we work so well together. But sometimes it clashes.
Oh, you know, my God.
And this is the thing. So they're probably like, what the fuck are you guys talking about? So the other day, Miguel was putting up a post on Facebook, and Facebook is very challenging at times because they like to change things up. Okay.
You guys, I'm sure you guys know it. Like you log into Facebook and things look different from one day to the next.
Yeah.
Hey, we're trying out something new.
Yeah. So Miguel was like super upset about this and just going off. And I wasn't in the office. I was in the other room, but the kids were here, and we had been working on just helping Joey with his temper. I don't tell him it's not good to be angry. Like, it's okay. It's normal. I mean, shit, I get upset. I get angry. I get sad. You know, I know how to process my thoughts and how to let that go. And sometimes I don't, right? Sometimes I'm like throwing dishes or, you know, being loud, closing cupboards. And then I have to get myself back on track. So, you know, Miguel was really upset, and I didn't get up. Like, I wasn't upset with you, you know.
But you had to say something.
I just figured I'm giving you your space because I know you. I know you. I know that I'm not.
Babe, you know me. And what have I told you?
To leave you alone. And I did.
How many times?
But did I leave you alone?
No, you said something.
No, I didn't. You were like, hey, are you okay? I'm like, no, I'm fine. Because I was doing my thing.
Okay.
I didn't say anything to you until days later when you talked to me about it. And I'm like, nothing was wrong. You know, like, I wasn't upset with you. I wasn't treating you any different. I just was cleaning the house and doing what I do to give you your space, you know?
Yeah.
But then days after it came up and we started talking about it, and the whole thing is that Joey, you know, was in the house. Adriana left the house because she didn't want to she feels energy too.
Yeah.
And she left, you know, so I saw that it affected her. And Joey, I don't know where he was, but the bottom line was that we're trying to do something here. And so leading by example is the key, you know, and you already know that it's going to happen. So prepare for it.
This is the thing, is that I got frustrated. I wasn't asking for an opinion. I wasn't asking for input. I was just frustrated. And we're talking about, this is the same thing about like sheltering people. When you go to work, there's people that have different attitudes. There's going to be people that get frustrated with certain things. And what are you supposed to do? What are you going to do when you're at work? Tell them to shut the fuck up? Tell them to, no. You got to fucking deal with it. This is life. You know, like, it's not rainbows and sunshine all day, everywhere you go.
I know that. But it's working through it. It's working through it.
Exactly.
It's working through it. You know,
but you're trying to shut it down.
So I'm not trying to shut it down, but I noticed that I can't help you. You have to help yourself. I can't help you.
Babe, this is the problem, is I don't need help. I just want to get it out. And because, you know, like, when I get frustrated, I'm not frustrated forever unless you guys keep fucking poking at me.
Nobody was poking at you that day.
And I wasn't frustrated for very long.
But the thing of it is that we're leading a little man in this house, and we're trying to teach him and show him.
What, not to be frustrated?
No, how to handle it.
Okay.
You know, like, prepare for it. If you know that this Rubik's Cube every time, right? Because that used to get him really pissed. He's trying to work it out. He knows it's hard. It's difficult. So know that, you know what, I'm going to play with this Rubik's Cube, and it's going to be, you know, and it's going to be difficult, and I'm going to be okay with that. And it's okay to get upset, but it's not okay for me to slap myself or hit myself against the wall with his head.
I get it.
So
yes, that's not okay.
It. You know,
that's not okay, and that's not what I do.
So I told Joey, well, you were banging on the desk. So I told Joey, I told him is I'm having him recognize his thoughts, because thoughts create your emotions, and your emotions create your actions. So I'm having him to recognize when he's upset, how is your body feeling? Like, how is your body feeling? And what are you telling yourself? And he told me, oh, that I'm stupid, and I'm like, but you're not, baby. Like, you're not. So it's just teaching him to recognize his thoughts. And then what were you going to say?
I don't know, because this is the same thing that we were just talking about, where how everybody is like, well, you're not. You're super smart and this and that. And you know what? Maybe if you feel like you're not as smart, there's a lot of people that feel like they need to put in that extra work to get to it.
It was a Rubik's Cube.
Listen, I just said that I'm a fucking moron.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
And what do I need to do to compensate for not being a moron? Read more.
Right.
Read it over and over and over again.
And I'm not talking about, we're not doing work here. He's playing with the Rubik's Cube. And I told him, the more you do it, the better you get. Go watch YouTube and they'll show you how to do it. They'll teach you, they'll show you. But right now you're learning. It's okay. You're going to be bad before you're good.
Well, that's there. Yeah.
And it's okay to be bad. That. Yeah. So I'm going through all of that with him as well. Yeah. I mean, like Adriana, she's having problems with certain things. I'm like, baby, you're just not, some people are really good. She's okay with math, but comprehending. Some people are really good at it. Like Joey's really good at it. You have to work hard, just like I do. I have to work harder than
most people,
when it comes
or other people. Yeah,
because I have to read more. I have to study more because it just doesn't come to me. If the teacher's explaining it, I'll hear it, but I don't get it. Yeah. So I have to work harder, and that's okay. So no, I go through all that with him as well. I'm not going to lie to him and say, oh, baby, you are amazing at math when he's actually not. No, you got to work on this, buddy. You got to study. Yeah. You got to put the work in,
Yep.
But anyways, that's what growing, you have to continue to grow. Even as, in marriage, when you think that things are going great and perfect, and then you start to slack off and go back to your old ways, and then you have to start all over again. I mean, we go through things cycles, like that as well.
Like steroid cycles. Like cycles of roids.
And I had to have a talk with Audrey because Adriana, you can't run from, you're going to have people in your life that have tempers and that cuss and that do things that they're not supposed to do. But that if it's your friend and your friend's making you feel a certain way, I mean, you don't have to you get to choose your associations.
Yeah.
In that manner. But when you're working a job and your boss is this way.
Or you're dealing with people, there's going to be people that you run into.
Yeah. And you have to learn how to work with that, how to handle that.
Some of them might be in your family.
Yeah.
I mean,
you can't control other people's behavior. The only thing you can control is you and how you respond and react to it.
Yeah. All I'm saying is that I think there is a reason for all of the human emotions. And it's not that some are okay and some are not okay. I feel like there's a lot of people that want to be positive and they want to do all this shit. And as long as the emotions and all these things that come from it are positive, then that's the only thing that's okay. Yeah. Anything besides that is not okay. And I think that there's a reason why we have some of these emotions. Yeah. Maybe some of it is negative. Maybe we need to work on some things, but I don't think it's all bad.
No, pain is good. Pain is good. And what I mean by that, because your pain causes you to grow. Like, I know when it comes to
being aggressive. Being aggressive is something that a lot of people today will say, well, I mean, fucking relax. Why are you so aggressive? You know what? There is a need for aggression at times. There's a need.
Right. You're right. There's a time and place for everything.
And guess what? If you don't have that, if you've suppressed that for a long time, when you need it, you're going to have fucking trouble. Because you don't have that in you anymore.
You always have that.
Maybe. I don't know.
Someone that's free from anger and free from...
No, but what I'm saying is that there's people that feel like that's not okay. So they try not to be like, that's just... They try to remove that from people. And it's like, well, if you're ever in a situation where you need aggression, you're going to be shit out of luck.
No,
because you're not going to have it.
Yeah.
I think there is a reason for, a lot of people like to look at them as just the negative. And I think that we're joking around, but I think it's the fucking wartime leader and the peacetime leader. There's a fucking reason but you do not want a fucking peacetime leader during war times. Everybody's going to get killed.
But if we all just loved a little more, there would be no war.
Yeah.
If everybody had compassion and empathy for their neighbor, we wouldn't have wars. We would be able to work together. I want to kick your ass, dude.
And with that,
love conquers all.
Anything else?
I want to take my shoe off and hit you with it.
Anyway.
Whenever you do that, you cut me off, man. Like I'm just like on a roll and you put that on and then I just forget my thoughts. I'm just like, oh, pretty.
Anyway, thank you guys for being with us. We appreciate you guys being with us. Make sure you guys go to oppositesattractpodcast.com. Share it with your friends. We really appreciate you guys sharing the podcast. We're really focused on taking this thing to the next level, really growing it. And like we said, we were talking to Big Super before last week. Like we're doing good with the podcast, but there's still a lot to learn.
Right.
There's still we got thousands of hours of learning that we still need to put into this thing. Even just with the podcast, like I'm looking back and yeah, it's good. But we could work on interviewing skills. These are the things that people don't really think about. Like, it's like, oh, I'm just going to do something. It's like, no, you want to get good at it. Like, if this is what we're going to do, if we're going to have guests, there are skills, there are techniques. And if you're serious about something, you need to look these things out and learn them. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So we promise the podcast will keep getting better. Thank you guys for being with us. Like I said, go to oppositesattractpodcast.com. Share the show with those that you know. Make sure you subscribe, you check out the videos, like, comment, all that stuff. It all helps. Twitter, we lost a follower. We're at fucking 18 now. What the hell? So if you guys aren't following us on Twitter, make sure you do it because we got hardly any followers. But anyway, thank you for being with us.
And until next time, bye.